we go. We're just getting everything set up. And then we'll get this roster reveal underway. Give people a couple minutes to get on, and then we will begin. Alright, so the way that this works, as per last season, is basically I have a list of all of the team names, and we're going to generate a roster file without even looking at the roster file. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Let me double check on that. Yeah, it looks like you can. So before we even check on any of the teams, we're going to go through each team name. We'll reassign it based completely on RNG, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah. First things first, we need to equalize regions, and all right. So we'll go here to manage teams, and first we'll go turn God mode on, enable God mode, and we go to manage teams. Alright, so this is the boring part, guys. There's not much I can do to avoid this, but for sake of balance, hopefully you guys are good staying with me here, and I'll start rattling off all of the different participants. So first up, team number 1 is Oregon Wagons. Let's see. I hope that does not mess up the stream. Let me just double check. Oh no, that messed up the stream big time. Alright. This is going to be real fun. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull the other list up on my phone so I can multitask here. Unprepared things for 1,000. Alright. So, Oregon Wagons. Mill Creek. apologies for this section being a little boring here. Just trying to get done so we can go take a look at the rosters real quick. Okay, and give me 1 second here. Alright, so these teams are the teams that are still open. We have a bunch of people that have signed up to participate that haven't selected teams yet. So they can select to be a walk-on team, but they won't get the team choice. They'll just be able to select walk-on, and then they'll be randomly assigned one of the walk-on teams. Probably just copy paste that. Alright. And real quickly, I can go through do that at the end before I export. Alright. And I need to go here to manage teams. Alright. Oh, I'm already in manage teams multi-team mode. And then I just need to select all. Alright. So we'll start at the top here. And looking at ABA's team, all the logos will have to be loaded in. They start out with a pair of nice 70s on multi-year deals. That's a pretty strong core right away for Team ABA. That being said, they're in cap hell, so good luck. And yeah, they're going to be a team that has a really clear window to win at the start of the league, but won't necessarily stick around as a force. Next up here, the Arkansas. Oh, wow. They're in a rough spot. They got cap room, for sure. Lots of cap room. But not much else going for it. They don't got much in the way of prospects. I mean, maybe Sepu Cananis. Yeah, maybe he develops. And they got Vlad. That's a cool guy. But yeah, this is not a bright spot. Arkansas is in a pretty rough spot there. Alright, next up here, Barp did nothing wrong. They got a superstar with all the badges in the world. That's pretty great, but they don't got much around him, though I could see them making some moves. I don't know. They're like really thin guard-wise, so they only have 4 guards on their entire roster. And they're already over the cap room. That's just really weird RNG, but at least they have decent pieces that they could move to go get another one. They're a team that's going to be all about whether or not Georgie Markolishvili or whatever it plays well. And Teague has got to be one of the worst contracts in the league because he's too good to move on, but not really a good deal. The Bull Bay Icon. First off, one of the better team names, and Augen, they have a nice core right here, all on multi-year deals. Actually, I think Haas is expiring, but the other guys are on multi-year deals. That's what you like to see. That definitely gives them a pretty good spot to start in, and they should be in a pretty good position here. And Icon's a pretty good GM, so I'm pretty confident with this team. Next up here is Halifax. Wesley Ryan. I feel like he's going to put up crazy stats. And he's on a really affordable deal. So they're probably got a chance to be pretty good. I don't know how good they'll be, but we'll see. They got cap space to work with, but they really don't got much up front at all. I don't really know where their cap space is because, I guess it's on another young point guard. I don't know. I'd trade O'Neal potentially because they already got young guards that for the majority of the tourney will be solid, so we'll see. KFC up here. Goodwin is a star, and Nick Webb might be one of the better rookies in the league. So they have a chance to be potentially pretty good fairly soon, but then they got some bad contracts, so we'll see what goes on there. London Knights. Derek Green on a phenomenal contract. Granted, he's older. That does give them a window. He's either going to be a very tradable guy, or he's going to be a very important piece to a very potentially good team. Next up, Mill Creek. Vidad Marakota is the best player on this team on a pretty bad deal, in my opinion. This is not ideal to start with. It's not awful because you can at least trade these guys for assets, but they're not going to be worth a ton. They don't got any potential superstars either, so yeah. Mitsubishi starting with a superstar on it. Oh my god, that contract. $15 million, 4 years as a 70 overall. All right, they're in a great spot. Even though the rest of their team is awful, they're in a great spot. North Carolina Jets. 2 expiring veterans. This is a team where you probably either go in all on in year 1 or you trade those 2 guys for assets right away. We'll see what they do. Oregon Wagons here. Reggie Bailey, bad contract in my opinion, to be entirely honest. Holden Brown's not a bad contract, just not great. He could be a nice defensive asset to move. All right. Pigeon. That's rough. They just got bad RNG with contracts here. Yeah, they don't. At least they have Tukes, but he's expiring too. Tukes and Marios would be a really cool duo, though I don't know if Pigeon will get there, but we'll see. Quebec, they're not in that bad a situation, I suppose. Richard Johnson's a pretty good contract. Payne's not that bad. They got a lot of cap room to work with. We'll see what they do. Texas Longhorns here. Ernest Miller on an expiring deal. He's probably going to be traded. But they do have a solid core that's all expiring. Yeah, I'd imagine they trade these guys here, right? And they probably even trade Clancy. We'll see what they do. But I don't know. And Lip's expiring too. I don't know. This is going to be a really tough decision to make if you're Texas. Tijuana, no stars at all. And no guards at all. Wow, they're in a horrible spot. They're literally starting from scratch with the exception of a couple really high potential players. Tokyo. Yeah, they got a great player. That's about it. Next up here, we got Toronto. Gunter has superstar potential and is on an affordable 2-year deal. McElroy, I think he's probably plays bigger than he is. Yeah, he's probably more of a power forward center guy. This is actually a really good badge composition here. You got shooters and defensive-oriented big men and a superstar. Nico's a great GM. This team probably has pretty good legs. They're on good contracts, too. The Fighting Reggies, Nicholas Baker, superstar potential, but expiring in year 1. That's rough. Valoni signed long-term. That's helpful. Jonathan McKnight also in a pretty good spot here. Of course, Chris Son on a massive deal. I'd probably see him getting traded. We'll see what goes down there. And Allen Brown might have sneaky trade value because he looks like he's going to be a high PER player. Union Station now. Kendall Bailey, up pretty big. I don't know. I don't like that deal. That's a pretty rough deal. This is a really solid defensive team, but not great contracts. I don't know. I'm not a fan of these teams' contract situation. That being said, they got some nice prospects that could develop, and we'll see where they go. Vegas, wow, they got a pair of superstars and a really solid role player to complement it. They're definitely going to be an all-in team, try to pick up a lot of chips in those early seasons. We'll see if Vegas can do that and take an early lead. And Washington here, they have a superstar and some solid players, but they just don't have a lot of depth or a lot of nice potential, though they got Presley, who I like Presley's potential there. I like Bittner's as well. All right, so then we'll go through the walk-on teams here. So there's one that'll get Engelson. That's pretty awesome. He's probably the best player we've seen so far. Griffin's pretty great as well. It looks like a lot of the good players are on teams that had yet to be assigned, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so the guy that's going to define the tourney has yet to be decided his team. He's actually a free agent year one. That's Tim Kelly. That's going to be an interesting year one outlook. We'll see what goes on there. All right, next up, Griffin Sharp here. That's a phenomenal contract. These walk-on teams are better than teams that we got. That's kind of crazy. There is no switching, but we'll see what we get for walk-ons here. Yeah, the walk-on teams are in a good spot. So anyway, that was the export. I'm going to work on getting out the team abbreviations and tracking down to make sure I didn't miss any team names, and I'll make sure everything gets filled in. But anyway, guys, thank you, and yeah, have a good tournament, and I'll see you on day 3.